'Twas the week of Christmas, and all through the house comic books were strewn everywhere, not even a mouse. What? Doesn't make any sense. Not supposed to, because we're here to talk about comic books. It is the week of Christmas, and this is the Comic Haul, my show where I talk about all the new comics that came out this week. And man, we had a doozy of a week this week. Some good stuff for Christmas as well. And here is this week's The Haul. It's a lot to go over with. I'm a bit festive today, but my more festiveness will be tomorrow night when I do my Dylan Knows show, my regular show, where I'll be reading Christmas stories to all the young children and people out in the world. So without further ado, that's probably going to be sometime around 9:30, 10 o'clock on Saturday. So we'll see what happens. So without further ado, let's dive into what's going on this week. First up from DC, as always, the best book of the year continues to be excellent. It is Batman number 37, continuing the date night storyline between Batman and Selina and Superman and Lois. And that's all it is. It's pure date night fun as the couples go on a double date and explore a superhero-themed carnival where they actually put on each other's costumes. So Superman is dressed as Batman, and Batman is dressed as Superman. It's written by Tom King with art by Clay Mann, I think. Let me just find it here. Clay Mann, pencils and inks, and Seth Mann, special thanks to him as well. So Tom King and Clay Mann and Seth Mann. And it's a fun book. It looks fantastic. It's been a great storyline, and I can't wait to read this one. Next up, we have, I stopped collecting this after a while, but I'm going to check it out again because we have a new writer on Nightwing. This is Nightwing number 35. This is one of the coolest covers of the week, probably one in the running for one of the best covers of the week. It's written by Sam Humphries, who had come off his Green Lantern's run to write Nightwing, and the art is by Bernard Chang. So we get to see Dick do what he does best in Bloodhaven and take on the bad guys by himself in his own town. Brand new characters, and we even delved a little bit to his past. So a fairly interesting idea. And so we'll read it, and I'll see if I'll keep reading it. But new creative team of Sam Humphries and Bernard Chang on Nightwing, so time to check it out. Next up, we have Aquaman number 31. It's written by Dan Abnett. However, it looks like Stefan Sejic is taking a break, or hopefully is going to come back on, and is just taking a break because the art is by Riccardo Federici, which looks a little bit like Stefan Sejic's, but still Stefan Sejic. And if he doesn't come back, I might be dropping Aquaman again. But for now, I'll keep this up as well. I mean, Aquaman is going to be big, I think, with the movie coming out next year, 2018, which isn't that far away from now. So check that out. Next up, we have Batwoman number 10, Marguerite Bennett writer. Who's the artist on this one? I hope they get Steve Epting back on art soon because I miss him. Art is by Fernando Blanco and Mark Lamming. It's pretty good. I mean, don't get it wrong. It's not bad art. It's just I prefer to see Steve Epting, who was the original artist on this series. But I guess, he needs a break like everybody else does. So we'll take it. But it's an interesting book. Different book with a gay female lead. So definitely worth working. And plus, it's written by Marguerite Bennett, who's fantastic. Next, we have Wonder Woman and Conan number 4. It's a 6-part miniseries. It's written by Gail Simone, drawn by Aaron Lopresti, who is one of those guys, and inked by Matt Ryan, who is just, he's very good. He's on time. Nothing too fancy. You get to see, he's got a good idea of how story flows, and looks good. And you got Gail Simone writing both Conan and Wonder Woman, which is fantastic. Speaking of Marguerite Bennett, she also wrote Bombshells United number 8 with art by Marco Andolfo. is another great series. It's digital first, and this comic reprints the digital one, so if you don't get it on digital, you can still get it in comics. Again, for those who don't know, it is a alternate reality where the women superheroes during the 1940s are going to war as well, while all the boys are at war also. The superheroes are at war also helping out. So you get different takes on characters like Wonder Woman, Batman, or not Batman, Batwoman, Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Zatanna, all that stuff. Green Lantern's number 37. It looks like Tim Seeley's writing this. It looks like he and Sam Humphries just switched roles, because Tim Seeley had been writing Nightwing. But this issue is written by Tim Seeley with art by Carlo Barberi and inks by Matt Santorelli. Starts a new story arc. And again, DC's got their thing for word balloons on covers is a thing lately. So this Green Lantern's been a good book. I haven't read any of Tim Seeley's stuff yet on Green Lanterns, but Sam Humphries did a great job on it, so we'll see how it goes. So check that out. Next up, we have a wonderful J.G. Jones cover for Justice League number 35. Again, this wasn't one I was going to pick up again anymore, but with Christopher Priest coming on as the writer and Pete Woods as the artist, I had to check out and see what Christopher Priest was planning on doing with the Justice League. So I haven't read them yet, so I can't tell you, but it should be an interesting take, because it's a different, Christopher Priest has a different style than most Justice League writers. They're also really pushing, and the back pages of all the books this week is the new Age of DC Heroes, which is going to come out in metal, and some new books that will be coming out that sounds interesting. We have Damage, The Silencer, Sideways, The Terrifics, The Immortal Men, The Curse of Brimstone, New Challengers, The Unexpected. These are all the new books coming out from Metal. Interesting creative teams, and we'll see how long they last. Damage is done by Tony S. Daniel and Robert Venditti. The Silencer is Dan Abnett and John Romita Jr. Sideways is Justin Jordan, Dan Didio, and Kenneth Rockford. The Terrifics is Jeff Lemire and Ivan Reyes. The Immortal Men is James Tynion IV and Jim Lee. The Curse of Brimstone is Justin Jordan and Philip Tan. The New Challengers is Scott Snyder and Andy Kubert. The Unexpected is Steve Orlando and Ryan Sook. So there's some definite books I'm interested in looking at, and we'll see what happens. Next up, we have Harley Quinn number 33 with a great Frank Cho cover with the 3 Ghosts of Christmas on it. Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner should be wrapping up their series really soon. They're the writers, and Brett Blevins, Otto Schmidt, and Moore Tott did the art. So you got 3 artists taking on 3 different stories, I guess. I guess they're doing a similar thing to like the Ghosts. So kind of past, present, and future type of thing, probably. And all drawn by different people. So just interesting cover in general, and we'll see how, that is one that once Jimmy and Amanda leave is probably one I'm not going to be collecting anymore after that. Next up, we have 2 books back-to-back, which I'll talk to you back-to-back about, because they start a storyline that's going to cross through a bunch of books. First up, we have Superman number 37, which is the first part of the Super Sons of Tomorrow storyline. Superman number 37 has also been a phenomenal storyline, or I've been doing a great story. Peter J. Tomasi, Patrick Gleason writers, Jorge Jimenez is the artist on this issue, and it's going to be a crossover with Superman and Batman and their sons from the future. So the artwork looks really nice, and you get to see Peter Tomasi write Batman, which he hasn't done in a while. So that's the first part of it. The second part also came out this week in Super Sons number 11. Also written by Peter De Tomasi. Patrick Gleason joins him on this as well. Where's the whole rest of the creative team? Ryan Benjamin's penciler. Richard Friend is inker. So it's a pretty interesting look at stuff. But this one has the Super Sun, so you can see a little bit more. The Titans are involved in this, because I think they're also involved in the crossover as well. And so, yeah, the next issue comes into Teen Titans, it crosses over into Teen Titans, and I guess it would be finished up in Superman, I guess. This is another good book for 2018, Exit Stage Left, The Snagglepuss Chronicles, written by Mark Russell, who did the fantastic Flintstone story, and Mike Feehan art. It's a 6-issue miniseries, so definitely worthwhile. That's another one to look out for next year. So that's the Super Sun story. There's 2 of those, and I think as I said, Teen Titans will be out, and then I think it ends in Superman the week after that. Speaking of Metal, the newest issue of Metal came out this week as well. It's Metal number 4. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, Dark Multiverse, Evil Batman taking over the Earth, and the superheroes, and Jonathan Glapion inking. And the Justice League is trying their best to try to stop these awful Batmen. And then Hawkman's involved with it, same with Sandman as well. So, get all kinds of crazy, weird stuff going on. It's not my favorite story. I mean, the art looks really nice and all that, but it's just, the story just seems kind of bleh to me. But, you know, still, it's the big event. It's going to go till Valentine's Day, when this last issue comes out. So, we should be seeing the aftermath of them with all those characters just mentioned not too long after that. That's it for the DC books this week. Marvel's got a new book out this week. It's actually a little bit delayed, but it's finally here. This is Marvel 2-in-1, written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Jim Cheung, who I love. But again, he's one of those guys that he draws like one issue of the series and then he's done. John Dell and Walden Wong are the inkers. This is Chip Zdarsky trying to get the gang back together, the Fantastic Four back together. It's going to focus on the Thing and Human Torch, and Spider-Man's a little bit shows up as well in a tuxedo, and Doctor Doom is in it as well. So it's an interesting look on things, and we'll see if it actually will bring the Fantastic Four back together. So we will see what happens, but it's good to see at least 2 of the members of the Fantastic Four back together again in Marvel 2-in-1, number 1. Speaking of Chip Zdarsky, Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 298 is out this week as well. It's Black Panther on the cover. I don't even think Black Panther is even in the book, so I don't know why he's on the cover. But Chip Zdarsky, writer Adam Kubert, and Juan Frigeri are the artists. So he's made it a very fun book with appearances by the Human Torch and Ant-Man and J. Jonah Jameson, and just old school. It's like reading old school Spider-Man again, and also Peter's sister, which you need to read the series. Oh, Black Panther is in it. Never mind. Okay. I didn't think he was, but there he is. All right. I don't normally collect Venom, but because they're doing the Venom Inc. storyline in Spider-Man, I figured I better stick up with it. Found out this week that Dan Slott will be leaving Spider-Man after his big story that leads through issue 700, I guess, or 800. This is written by Dan Slott and Mike Costa with art by Gerardo Sandoval. It's continuing the Venom Inc. storyline that was in the Spider-Man book. So Spider-Man will cross over into this. So if you want to find out what's going on with this series, you should probably pick up the other issues of Venom Inc. One was like a Venom Inc. Alpha, and then Amazing Spider-Man, and then this one. So that's it for Marvel. Independents go a little Christmas holiday season crazy. First up is, I got the Mike Mignola cover because I like Mike Mignola, but this is a one-shot Hellboy Krampusnacht, with art by Adam Hughes and inked by and written by Mike Mignola. So you get gorgeous Adam Hughes artwork and a story by Mike Mignola, and you get Hellboy and you get Krampus. So can't go wrong with that. So something fun for the holiday season. So looks good. So Hellboy is always an interesting book, particularly also when you get Adam Hughes to draw it. Again, I don't normally collect this. I collected it when it first came out, but I haven't collected any of the new stuff. But I had to get it because it is a Christmas special. It is the Wormwood Gentleman Corpse Christmas special. It is the Gentleman Corpse. This is another really good cover of the week as well. It's written and drawn by Ben Templesmith, who did the original 30 Days of Night, and that's sort of where his claim to fame was. And then this is the character he created out of that and has done a couple series for it. There's one that's out now, which I haven't been getting, but this one is a Christmas story, corpses, dead people, so I kind of like that. So check it out. Speaking of 30 Days of Night, I was unaware they were going to do this, but 30 Days of Night is being rebooted in a new issue called 30 Days of Night #1, basically doing a retelling of 30 Days of Night in a different perspective, but it's written by Steve Niles, who wrote the original 30 Days of Night, and art by Peter Kowalski. So it takes place in Barrow, Alaska on the first day of winter, where the sun isn't going to arise, which is what's actually happening right now. And no real vampire shenanigans in this. This is just basically setting up the community and the conflicts, and we don't really get a taste of what it is that we're dealing with. So should be interesting. We'll find out in the next issue. So 30 Days of Night is back. What else is back, which surprised me also, is the comic book History of Comics is back. This time, Comics for All is going to be talking about graphic novels instead. So I'm a comic book geek, obviously. I'm a history major. I have a BA in history. This interests me to death, and I will probably pick up the trade also. It's by the same team that did the original comic book History of Comics, Fred Van Lent and Ryan Dunleavy. So again, it discusses the arrival of the graphic novel through history and through comic book artwork. So you get to see how it's done. So if you're interested in comic book history, this is probably a really good book for you to check out. Backways #1, Aftershock. Whenever I see a new issue #1, I always have to pick it up just to try it out because they do excellent work. This one's written by Justin Jordan, who's making kind of a little bit of a comeback, and art by Eleonora Carlini. That's the main reason why I got it, because I like the artwork on this. It looks like it's after shock horror book, a little bit of a manga influence, but you know what? That's cool. I like the character designs. I like the characters, and Aftershock can really do no wrong. I like pretty much all their stuff, so definitely check it out. Speaking of Aftershock, here's another good example. Dark Arc #4, continuing a great storyline idea written by Cullen Bunn with art by Juan Doe. Basically, you know, when God came to Noah and said, you need to build an ark and put your family on it and 1 or 2 of every animal, the devil did the same thing and had someone else build an ark also and put all of the evil stuff on the ark. So we are following what's going on in this ark. All kinds of creatures, vampires, demonic things, griffins, stuff like that. And, you know, obviously it's going to be a lot less fun than Noah's with all the animals and good people. These are all bad people. So it's a pretty good series right now. And Aftershock is really doing a great job. Speaking of Aftershock, one more. I think this is the final issue of Unholy Grail. Let me just double check that, make sure. Yeah, I think this is the final. This is their take on. This is Cullen Bunn's take on the Arthurian legend. Cullen Bunn, writer, Mirko Kolak, artist. I think that's why this is just an updated version of King Arthur. So definitely worthwhile. Oh boy. Valiant. These characters always get me interested in books, and I always want to try to get into them, but I just can't. I gotta keep trying those. Quantum and Woody #1, written by Daniel Kibble-Smith with art by Kano. Quantum and Woody has always been a really funny book, and if you like Deadpool, I think you would kind of like Quantum Woody. So definitely check out this new one, and maybe this will be the one that'll get me. I always get the first 2 issues, I read them, and then for whatever reason I just don't collect it anymore. But hopefully that'll change with that. Ninja K #2. We all remember when Ninjak was huge back in the late 80s and early 90s. Well, now he's back as Ninja K, and there's a whole bunch of other ninjas before him. This one is written by Christos Gage. Where is your creative team? Sorry about this. I don't know who the artist is. I mean, I got names on here. I just couldn't tell you who they were. Christos Gage, Diego Rodriguez, Tomas Giarello, and Ariel Olivetti. It's got, here it is. Writer Christos Gage, main story art by Tomas Giarello with Roberto de la Torre. Backup stories by Ariel Olivetti. So it's ninjas. It's like James Bond type of stuff. Some pretty nice looking artwork. So definitely worth a look in that as well. Betty Page #6. Dynamite continues their fantastic job spotlighting women. It's written by David Avalone with art by Isao Figueroa and Matt Gaudio. The funny thing about this is Betty Page has always been known as a pinup. Well, this story has her using her pinup status as a way to infiltrate and be a spy. And so just like a James Bond type of thing, but it's very, very clever. So worth a look because Dynamite does a great job with their women books. Speaking of which, here's Vampirella #9, written by Jeremy Whitley with art by Chris Lee, Paula Barrios, and Andy Belanger. They're basically doing Vampirella during the time of Mad Max. It's a different take on Vampirella than you're used to, but it looks good. It's fun, and it's a new story. So there we go. And last but not least, the final issue of Centipede, also from Dynamite, is out this week, #5. They took the classic Atari video game and turned it into a comic. It's written by Max Bemis with art by Ewan Marin. And I think they're teasing Space Invaders next. But it's, it's a giant centipede taking on a person. So if you like the video game, you probably would like this too. But yeah, it looks like or Missile Command or something like that is the next one. So we'll see. And that is it for these comics that are out this week before Christmas. The next time we do a comic haul, Christmas will be over. I talked to my comic book guy. He said that next week's books look to be almost as crazy as this week's books. So we'll see what happens with that. On a personal note, it is, when I'm filming this right now, it is the 22nd of December, so we still have 3 days before Christmas. But, we have the weekend now, so if you need to do some last-minute gift ideas for that special person in your life who happens to, if they like pop culture or comic book movies or whatever, go ahead and check out your local comic book store. If you don't know where your local comic book store is, go to your search engine and type in Comic Shop Locator Service, and then it'll take you to, well, once you click on it, it'll take you to the website, the Comic Shop Locator Service website. You type in your zip code, and it'll give you a list of every comic book store within about a 20-mile radius. And you click on each one of those, and they'll give you either their website or directions or whatever, and you can go check it out yourself. A lot of the comic book stores are doing great deals now for the holidays. What's the harm in just going and checking out what you got? At my local store, literally right up the street from me right now, Cars, Comics, and Collectibles, where I got these comics, they're doing 50% off of basically everything from Wednesday to Sunday, since they'll be closed on Christmas Day. Plus, there's going to be like 20% here and there for other stuff as well. But they've got all kinds of crazy stuff. They got action figures, they got cards, they got trade paperbacks, graphic novels, comic books, pops, Funko Pops, statues. I've gotten a number of presents from this comic shop that I'm going to be giving to my family. And I might be buying one or two more tomorrow also, depending on if I can get out in time to do it. But if you need a last-minute gift idea, go to your local comic book store. They might be having some super deals. Check out and see what new stuff is out there. As I said, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole bunch of new stuff came out, including there was a great Funko Pop 2-pack, which I might look at maybe picking up tomorrow if they still have some of Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. That's brand new also, so I might be thinking about picking that up for myself. But we'll see. But there are they has a kids section also, so I found a lot of stuff for my kids there that might be interested. I got my daughter a Grumpy Cat Garfield book because they did a Grumpy Cat Garfield comic book, and one time we were in there, she was reading the comic and she enjoyed it, so I got her the trade. So all kinds of great gift ideas. You never know what you might find in there. You might find statues or 50%. My store has statues 50% off, so if there's a statue that you've been having your eye on that was $150, well, guess what? It's $75 now. So now might be a time to pick it up. So definitely, if you need any last-minute gift ideas, go to your local comic book store. Type in the Comic Shop Locator Service into your search engine. When it takes you to the website, click on it, get into their website, and then type your zip code in the box and hit enter, and it'll give you all the comic book stores within a 20-mile radius of your area. So definitely check it out. Unfortunately, this shirt is a Loot Crate exclusive, so you won't be able to get this. But never know what might come up. So thank you for watching. I want to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays. If it's after the holidays, well, you know what? It's basically the holidays till January anyway. So this is a snapshot in time. This is December 22nd, a Friday. 3 days before Christmas. So I might check this out again after Christmas to see what's going on with it. So until then, go buy comics, maybe buy some of this stuff for Christmas. Oh, and by the way, the winner for the cover of the week, just reminded me, is the Nightwing one. It's fantastic. I just really like the design of it. Pick up all of Tom King's Batman work or all Peter Tomasi's Superman, Peter Tomasi, Patrick Gleason's Superman works for this year. From this year, it'll be worth it. Next week, I think Doomsday Clock #2 comes out as the big book next week, and a whole bunch of some other interesting stuff as well. Until then, happy holidays. I will get out of your face now. Enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend, and we'll see you next week. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.